down if people start acting up. We're not putting on it.
They was not one of
Call the June 26th Lincolnton City Council meeting to order. If we could all rise for a moment of silence and follow it by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You've had a chance to look over the regular agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We've also had a chance to look at the consent agenda. Very few things on there, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next up is public comment, and I know we've got a couple that have signed up.
First one is CJ.
Hey, DJ, you've got 3 minutes, and if you'll come over to the podium and introduce yourself, please, sir.
Yes, my name is Charisma Danani, and I'm the founder and leader of Black Boat Weekend, which is an oncoming event that's going to be scheduled for Saturday, July 19, 2025, near Dog Island. This event is going to be a tie-up, which is 60 to 100 boats arranged in a circular formation. It's going to be designed with exit points and staff and police presence. While we received full support from the Cornelius Department and DNR, and they have confirmed no issues with the event, unfortunately, we have encountered resistance from Lincoln County authorities. One officer in particular warned us of potential arrest, towing, and/or conflicts with the event, which conflicts with the other agencies that already have approved the event. So we're simply seeking partnership from Lincoln County so that the officers can safely monitor the event, allowing the other apartments as well, Cornelius County and DNR, to assist with the event. We heard some concerns with the event, experienced some racial feedback. So just to be clear, the event is a unity culture community event, and we'll be drawing thousands of people to the Lincoln County, up to probably 500 boats in attendance throughout the United States. There will be people from Virginia, Florida, everyone is flying in. So basically, I respectfully ask the Lincoln County officially support this event so we can continue with preparations with the event. If the event were to cancel last minute, it could cause far more disruption than proceeding with a full safety measures, as in we hired staff, lifeguards, and obviously me being a licensed captain, engineer, we have lawyers on top of the team. And overall, this event has been planned over the last 2 years by me, and I've also done other major events. I'm running out of time. So basically, I would just need the support of Lincoln County so I can get the police, because the Cornelius County is on board, DNR is on board. Lincoln County has been giving me some resistance with the event, so.
Just for clarity, is this going to be at the lake?
Yes.
Lake Norman?
Yes.
We're the city of Lincolnton.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in our jurisdiction. You'll probably want to talk to the county commissioners.
Okay, so they told me to come talk to you guys for some reason, so, the bell rang. So I'm sorry, but the Lincoln County, so you guys don't do nothing with Lincoln County Police?
No, the sheriff's department
Sherrill County,
is under the control of the sheriff.
okay,
Our boundaries don't go past, or it goes to 150.
okay,
So the lake is not in the city of Lincolnton's.
okay. So
jurisdiction.
this is why it's been confusing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been going back and forth.
And I
Obviously,
know they've created a new marine.
commissions that they got decommissioned.
Yeah.
And so after we got approval, they got decommissioned on June 30th, which is in 4 days. So we're just having some problems. I'm getting problems contacting Lincoln County Police to get them on board. So I don't know. I just would knew to come here is what I was told.
It'd be
So
the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department.
Lincoln County Sheriff's County. Okay, so I am in the wrong place. I guess you guys have.
It's all right. We learned about the event. so-
Okay, yes. Hopefully y'all will definitely come out.
Yeah.
Green.
Okay, perfect. I guess I got some information.
Give y'all contact information.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a boat.
Trent Mason.
Trent Mason.
Should I start?
Need I say, 3 minutes, sir.
I mean, Chris got it right up here, like on this screen, so I can't even like pretend like I don't know what it is. I mean, he's got to legitimately right there. Get your hand off there. Get your hand up.
You just started.
What? All right, yeah. Good evening, council. Sorry for my informalness. Came from Vacation Bible School. Had to cover for somebody to show up tonight. And only people who are guilty talk. And plus, I was planning on going all out after 5. Unfortunately, it did get canceled. I just heard about, so I was ready for that and trying not to sweat, completely out of my clothes. So anyway, I do apologize for that. Anyway, for today, I gotta say thank you. I hate having to say thank you to the police department for what they do in these situations. For what we had happen last week, we also had a situation what happened on Mockingbird today, and we had police presence, but it's amazing to have a department that you can count on, who are there, who's going to take care of everything, and you feel very comfortable in that, and I'll call it the most uneasy of situations, right? And so thank you. Sergeant Rushton's here, Chief Green's out there. Gotta say thank you to them. Also, Nathan, y'all had another great movie in the park. Unfortunately, first one I've ever missed. My wife was like, "Are we going to leave the beach early?" I was like, "No, we're not going to leave the beach early to go watch Mufasa." Down at First Federal Park. But I heard that it was a very good turnout. Thank you, Leak News. Y'all actually helped sponsor it. You put it out on your Facebook page as well. So thank you for that. And as we, like I said, we were going to Live After 5. I was going to be looking forward to seeing everybody there. But the next thing is we got next Friday, right? July 4th. Richie, the train conductor, is going to be out. Full force.
Weather looks good.
The weather looks good. And hey, do you have your full conductor outfit now?
Same as in the winter. Yeah, same as the Christmas.
Okay, we at least got to get you a hat. I think the next thing we need to do is maybe get some branded train whistles that we can hand out. It said the city of Lincolnton on it, and you hand out whistles like during the parades. Just ideas, man. That's all I am. Maybe I can go back to LTDA and get those. Maybe they'll give me funding for that. She might actually try to kill me out in the parking lot. No, but that's all I got. I look forward to seeing everybody next Friday. 4th of July is always a special event, and to see everybody come together, whether it's either downtown or I think the high school is charging $5 for parking, and you can set up on the soccer field. I know it's going to be a big fundraiser for them. So if you're looking for someplace to watch it, go support the local high school and help them. It just goes in their general fund. I don't know if there's anything particular for that, but that's a great place to watch it. It's even closer than what is downtown. So yeah, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Trent. Okay, anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead with the regular agenda, and I'll call Scott first for consideration of an agreement between the city and utility services partner. We'll ask Chris not to time you.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Trent would give the rest of my time. But good evening, Mayor, Council. Hope everyone's doing well today. Working with, throughout my history, I've had the opportunity to work alongside National League of Cities in the past, seen a lot of their training, a lot of the things that they have worked with, sponsored with. They have actually partnered with HomeServe, and they have a program known as the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program. And so we have implemented this program at my a prior utility that I worked at, and Charlotte Water has also implemented this, along with 25 other municipalities throughout the state here in North Carolina. Ashley Shaworski is here with us this evening. She has recently flown in from out of state, from Pennsylvania, to provide this presentation, and she can elaborate more on the specific program. Upon completion of her presentation, then I'll come back up and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Ashley?
Welcome to Lincolnton.
Thank you for having me. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to join your meeting this evening. As Scott mentioned, I was lucky to work with him in his previous city to bring this program there, and I'm happy to be here this evening as well. My name's Ashley Shaworski, and I do represent the National League of Cities Service Line Program. So our program here, it is the only one that's endorsed by the National League of Cities, but the company I do work for is called HomeServe, and we administer the program. And we've been offering this program here in the U.S. for over 20 years and have been lucky to be partnered and endorsed by the National League of Cities since 2010. We do work with over 1,300 municipalities and utilities all across the country to provide this program. And as Scott said, there are 25 here in the state of North Carolina. But just to give the group a little background of how our program was developed, obviously we all know aging infrastructure is an issue for cities and utilities all across the U.S. And we know you all are doing your best here to either upgrade or maintain your public infrastructure, but the homeowners portion of these lines were kind of being forgotten about. Not on purpose, we just know that as a city, there's only so much that you can actually do on a private side or force a resident to do on their side, as much as you'd probably like to be able to. So that's really why the National League of Cities went out and did research. They wanted to make a program like this readily and easily available to cities and towns all across the country. So they went out, did the research on your behalf, and we were the company they chose to provide the program. So what we actually do is we partner with the city in order to make these completely optional protection available to your homeowners there. And we provide residents with protection on their external water or well lines, sewer or septic lines, and their in-home plumbing. Additionally, because the city offers electric to their residents here, we also offer an interior electric protection, heating and cooling, and water heater as well, which I'll talk about all of those. But really, by partnering with us, you're just making these options available to your homeowners that otherwise would not be. But it's always up to them if they decide to enroll, and if they decide to enroll in any combination, whatever they choose. What I, though, always think is the best benefit of this program is that it really does help to raise awareness. Pretty much every city that I speak with across the country, I hear that same thing, that if a resident does have an issue on one of their external lines, a lot of times their first call is to the staff here. And then your staff is left using your time and dollars to send someone out to investigate, and then being that bearer of bad news that no one ever wants to be, explaining to the residents at the worst time possible that these lines are not covered by the city or typically their homeowner's insurance. So that is really why I think of this program as a free public awareness campaign, because all of your residents receive a letter in the mail from us, and the beginning of that letter is educational. So that way, even if they don't enroll in protection, at least now they're well aware of exactly which portion of these lines that they're responsible for. They can better prepare themselves, and they know that the city did try to take that proactive approach at helping to educate them of that. So that way, if they still call you here, it just makes the conversation a little bit easier for everyone. Also, a huge benefit of our program is if we did partner with the city, we would develop a local area contractor or plumber network to serve your residents' claims specifically. And the group can be as much or as little involved in that process as they like to be, where some of our partners will provide us a list of plumbers and electricians or contractors, and some don't want to get involved. Either way is fine. But with all of those contractors, we do go through a vetting process to make sure that they meet your licensing requirements, that they have proper insurance, and additionally, we also conduct background checks and drug screenings. That way, all of your residents feel comfortable with them coming to their home or inside of their home. And as for our protection, we actually offer 7 completely separate and optional protections. The first ones I'll start talking about are what we consider the water products, or the water and sewer line protections. And then on the next slide, we'll get into the energy options as well. So the first 2 that I'm going to talk about are the external water and sewer line protection. And as I mentioned, these are all a la carte. So a resident can pick and choose, obviously enroll in absolutely none or whatever combination best fits them. But the first 2, again, the external water or sewer line protection, we cover those lines wherever they become their responsibility, all the way to where they enter their home. So that way, if a homeowner is having an issue, whether it's a broken, a cracked, a leaking pipe, a tree root issue, a clog, low water pressure, or really anything that they're noticing, they give us a call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They'll get someone in our call center that's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then we'll dispatch one of those local plumbers. The plumber will go to their house to see what's causing the issue, and they would repair or replace the line as needed. What's nice about our protection is your resident does receive, if they enroll in either protection, up to $8,500 towards each and every incident. They can have as many incidents as they need, and they always get up to that $8,500 per incident. That includes street repair if it's their responsibility, sidewalk repair, all permitting costs. So we make sure those plumbers are following all your local codes and getting all of the proper permits. And we never have any type of service fee or call out fee. We never want that to stop one of your residents from actually giving us a call and getting their issues taken care of. In addition to the external options, we also do offer an in-home plumbing, and this one is very frequently utilized, but this covers any of the water, sewer, or drain lines in the home after the point of entry that could be broken or leaking. It also includes lines that are embedded into a slab or basement floor and the repair of clogged toilets. So this is similar again, no service fee or deductible, no annual or lifetime limit, no limit on number of claims, and your resident does receive up to $3,000 towards each and every incident. And then as I did mention, we do also offer optional energy products as well. So I'm really, again, just making these available to the resident. We offer interior electric, which covers those electric lines inside of the home, as well as an issue with your panel as well too. That's up to $4,000 per call or $4,000 annually. Water heater. This one's becoming more popular because water heaters are not lasting anywhere as long as they used to. So this one's $1,500 towards a repair or replacement. And then the heating and cooling are repair programs, and that's $2,500 per call and annually. And I know the big thing everyone wants to know is what's the city's involvement in the program. So we really do handle all the aspects of the program, but what we do is we enter into a marketing agreement with the city. And that just lays out the way that we get the word out, which is through direct mail. So that is the city's involvement, is before we mail anything out to a homeowner here, we would work with the city to customize that specifically for your residents. We work with the group on any edits and changes you want to see in that letter. And then once we get the approval, we let you know the dates that we mail those out. That way everyone here knows what their residents are receiving and when they're receiving it. And if we don't get approval, if you have a big project going on or something going on in the city, it's not the best time to mail, just let us know and we can skip that campaign. So again, we never send anything out unless we have your approval prior. To give you an idea of what that looks like, the beginning typically is that educational piece, really letting your residents know which portion of these lines that they're responsible for. It normally has a diagram and their terms put into frequently asked questions. We also typically limit the marketing to 2 products at a time. We'd never send them all 7 at once. It's a little overwhelming for a homeowner, so we typically alternate through those. But the letter that we do send out does include the city's logo or letterhead, so your homeowners know this is a program you're making available to them. But on that is all of our information. Our logo, our phone number is the only number on there. So they call us with questions or to sign up. Same thing with our website. They can get a lot of great information on there or sign up through the website, or they return the bottom of the letter directly to us. We know you all have more than enough going on here, so we do handle all the aspects. We do the marketing, billing, claims management, and customer service. And again, absolutely no cost to the town, to the city to participate. And the city does, though, receive an incremental revenue stream for your participation. So what the town receives in return for their partnership is actually 10% of all of the premiums we collect on an annual basis. paid to the city every January. A lot of our partners do different things with this. Obviously, you could do anything that you like. Some put it into the general fund. But we also do have partners that will use it to help residents that maybe are having trouble paying a utility bill from month to month. Some will use it for different public infrastructure projects we know you're looking for funding for. Or, some have used it to help with different events that go on in the community as well, too. It's really however you as the city sees fit. And then lastly, we do have over 1,300 municipal partners across the U.S., 25 here in North Carolina. And I know I've given you a lot of information, so I'm happy to answer any questions. But what we really would just need from the council is to enter into or pass the resolution to enter into the marketing agreement, and then we begin customizing everything for you all to review and approve. But yeah, I appreciate your time today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's totally optional to the homeowner.
Correct.
It can be either one or all 7 of the
Correct.
products.
Do landlords qualify?
Yeah, so the property owner or the landlord has to purchase on behalf of renters because they're the only ones that can give that authorization to actually do work. But it is really popular with landlords because.
I figured it would be.
What percentage of people in these cities and these towns are you guys getting?
Yeah, so our national average is in year 1, we typically get somewhere about 5 to 8% of residents choose to enroll in a protection. And year 3 is kind of where it levels off. So it's somewhere between 15 and 20%. Some of our partners are extremely high, like Des Moines Waterworks in Iowa, they're about 65%, but they're pretty involved. We provide a lot of other tools, things for your website, for social media. We have newsletters. We have stuff for the office. None of that's a requirement of the program, but we do see some of the partners that utilize some of that additional PR that helps to increase those numbers.
So you say you got three mail-ins you do in a year. Is that for each of the services? So we're looking at 21 potential mailings going out? Is
No.
that for each of the services, or do you just, because you said you don't do it all at one time?
Yeah, great question. So we do maximum of 3 campaigns per year. So your resident in a campaign, there's typically an initial letter and a reminder, but we don't do, that's the maximum. Honestly, we typically do twice per year, but the max is 3. And then we kind of alternate through the products. We typically start with water and sewer in that first mailer, and then depending on what that person signs up for, if they sign up for both, they might get interior electric next. If they don't sign up for that, they could potentially get water in a different combo, so our marketing team looks at that, but no one would ever get more than those 3 campaigns at their house, so.
And that campaign consists of a mailing?
A mailing, correct. Yeah, so no one would ever get more than, I guess technically it's 6 letters because a campaign has a initial letter and then 2 weeks later they get a reminder. It's the same letter. It just says reminder, please disregard if you've already enrolled. So no homeowner would ever get more than 6 letters in a year.
Okay, so you are going to send out a letter for each one of these services. Is that, I'm missing something?
No, we do. So not in a year, they would not get a letter for each one. So like if you at your house would only get a maximum of 3 different offers in a year. So even though we have 7 products, you probably wouldn't get mailed all because there's 7 of them. Unless we did 2 at a time, you would only get 3 different offers in a year.
The following year, I might get 3 more.
3 more,
And so on
yes.
and so
But that doesn't mean you can't sign up for the ones that you didn't get an offer for. If you call at any time, we'll tell you everything that's available if you ask. And then when you go to the website, they'll all be available. We've tested a bunch. If you get more than 2 in one letter, it just is, decision fatigue and people sign up for nothing, so.
Your cities here in North Carolina, these 25, do you have any information as far as what kind of revenue average those cities are getting? What kind of numbers are cities seeing?
Yeah, so
Similar size to ours, just kind of an average.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I can get you that information. It kind of varies, because you do receive 10% of all of that, so Probably a city your size could get a couple thousand a year would be probably my estimate, just off the top of my head, looking at the partners across the country. Scott might remember what he got.
Yes, so the city that I came from, we had implemented the program approximately about 18 months. We were into it before I left to come here. And their first year, they had received their premiums. I had followed up with their finance director, and it was about $1,500 for the first year. Yep,
Monroe's, what's the size of Monroe? How many people?
approximately 36,000 people.
About twice what we are. Yes, a little bit more, twice, okay.
But it was increasing, yeah, most certainly. And if I may, most residents, well, here within our city limits, our policy is the customer's responsible for their water line and their lateral, their sewer line out to the city's main. And that can be quite a overbearing expense. My mother-in-law lives within Charlotte, and Charlotte maintains the laterals in the water line, service lines in the right-of-way. However, she is a customer, participates in this program, but it was for water only. And she was having sewer-related issues, and I thought, well, you've got the warranty program, just, go ahead and utilize that. And she said, well, it's just water only. So $15,000 estimate from a plumbing company meant that I had to get my sons and myself and some shovels, and we went over and fixed the problem. But it can be a significant burden, on a citizen.
Absolutely, yeah, it sure can. The problem I guess I see is that we're fixing our name and reputation to this program, so it's got to be a lot of trust that if a homeowner calls, they're not going to get a runaround.
Most certainly.
So did you experience any of that?
I did not, no.
So there wasn't any negative backlash, or wasn't any negative?
Other than the initial mailing, sir, we had about 5 customers out of 16,000 property owners that had a couple of concerns. Just, what am I receiving this letter? What is this about? And we just, our customer service staff, utility billing, had to explain specifically what it was, specifically, and to contact the phone number that was provided on that mailer. Other than that, we didn't have any challenges, any issues whatsoever.
So what separates this from other companies is that we would endorse and get a percentage back, because I know that there are other companies that provide the same services.
Yeah. I was going to say, really our only competitor that we ever see in the marketplace is American Water, or they go by On Course also. They kind of go by multiple names. But that's really the only competitor we see in the marketplace. Most of the time, they're in that footprint of where they provide water, or we see them in really large cities. I'd say we're probably more, we being partnered with the National League of Cities, we work with cities all shapes and sizes. So, I think our smallest partner is actually here in North Carolina. It's Hassel. It's 30 households, all the way up to, we're partnered with Las Vegas and San Diego, so it's really been a good fit for all communities. But one of the things that separates us is this program is only available through some type of municipal or utility partnership, and we do that to set up our terms to cover your residents' responsibility. So like Scott said, we will cover from the main to where those lines enter their home, which includes the street repair and sidewalk repair. A lot of times, if you just mail to a community, it stops at the property line. And we don't want that gap of coverage. Additionally, when we partner with the city, we get a higher percentage of customers, obviously, but that allows us to keep the costs low for your residents because those plumbers are getting a lot of work and a lot of times give us a better rate. So that kind of all works out for everyone, but also because we utilize those local contractors, it's a better customer experience because they're from the community. They're not driving from Charlotte every time to do the job. And then just to kind of piggyback on the other question, we obviously do take our customer service pretty seriously. We want to keep the relationship with the National League of Cities as long as possible. And we do maintain a 4.8 out of 5 stars for all of our customer. That's been our satisfaction rating over the last 5 or 6 years. So every resident that files a claim gets, a rating. It's kind of like Uber, rate us out of 5. So we maintain a 4.8 out of 5. And what's nice though, anything under 4, we actually call that customer just to see what happened. Was it our call center? Was it that local plumber? Is it something that we can fix for the future?
So if you get a bad local plumber, I guess you don't use them anymore.
Correct, yeah. So we have a regional operations team, and they go on site. They, monitor those plumbers, check their surveys, make sure they're meeting our standards and yours, so.
Where is the main headquarters? Where?
So I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have an office there. We have our call center is in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then we have an office our main office is in Norwalk, Connecticut.
We'd have to deal straight with the Pennsylvania office.
You would deal with me and then your account manager, which most of our North Carolina partners deal with my colleague Steve, which is who I know Scott got to know before, but yeah, we work out of the Pennsylvania area. But our regional operations manager that monitors the plumbers does live in North Carolina. I'm not exactly sure where he lives, but I know he's about an hour from Charlotte somewhere, but he lives in the North Carolina area.
Where's the call center? When people call, where's
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga? Okay.
Yeah, we have about 700 agents in our Chattanooga office.
Any other questions?
I think so.
Okay. Scott, did you have follow-up?
No, sir, Mayor, I was just standing to see if you had any additional questions.
Providing support.
Are you part of this company, Scott? Are you part of this, or you're just helping her out?
No, sir, I'm part of part of this organization here.
But he did mention,
This is something you used in your previous place, and you thought it would be, that's what I was wondering how this was, so it's something that you're familiar with, that you've used, and you think it will help our residents.
That is
And you
correct.
brought it.
That is correct. I can't tell you how many times, probably at least 500 times throughout my 30-year career that I've seen homeowners, property owners, widows crying, upset that they couldn't afford to pay, to have plumbing repairs. They couldn't afford to pay to have water service line repairs. It's a super enormous expense. Sometimes the people want fixed incomes. I can tell you that I've seen people benefit from it personally.
and we see it here, especially with sewer, and you have situations where the sewer might be on the other side of the road, and they've got to do a cut all the way to the other side, and it's not cheap.
Do you feel the benefit is worth it? I mean,
I do.
it's a good thing.
That's why I mentioned about landlords, because I could see a lot of landlords, they have so much they're going to have in CapEx.
Yeah,
If they have this program, then they're guaranteed not to have to worry about a few things, especially with dealing with local vendors as well. Because their pricing is going to be a lot more competitive to this area than if somebody comes out of Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have an approved list of contractors.
Yeah, so we
And
would.
does the homeowner have the option of going with someone that's not on your approved list?
They have to be in our approved list for a few reasons, because we have to make sure that they meet the licensing requirements, have the insurance, and then when they're in our list, that work is guaranteed for 12 months from the date of the repair, even if the homeowner dropped the coverage the day after they got their repair fixed. But they can pick. So like if we have 5 contractors, they could say, I want, John Smith Plumbing to come out, and that, if that works for them, as well as if there's anyone that your residents frequently use. We love when you share that with us, or if you have a new plumber that moves into the community. It's not a stagnant list, so it's always developing and growing. So if you have anyone that ever reaches out, or you think they would be a good fit for us, just pass that on to me, and we'll begin that recruiting process for them.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny the request.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Okay, motion by Kevin to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, David Ramsey, for your global payment contract.
I give them the numbers, they don't need to see it. Good evening, everybody. If you remember back in the budget retreat, we talked about the credit card processing fees, and how much they were, and let you know that we had found out that the credit card processing company is much like the cable company, that we need to call each year and say, you're charging us too much in fees. Well, we did that, and Pam, Denise, and I met with, talked with the Global Payments Company at first, and then I continued the negotiations after that. Long story short, we were able to cut the rate 54%, which will save the city about $412,000 over this next year. So what I'm here tonight is to ask you to approve going into a 3-year contract with them. But keep this in the back of your mind. Next month, I'm going to come to you and talk to you about switching to Tyler Technologies payment processing. Because the reason we've gotten a lower rate through Tyler than we've gotten through Global Payments. But in order to have Tyler implemented, it takes about 4 months. So we wanted to go ahead and get the lower rates with Global now. And this was with some advice of another company that said we should do that. And then once we cancel with Global, the only fee is they will charge us $500 per machine that processes a credit card, which we have 4. So it'll be a $2,000 penalty to get out of the 3-year contract. But the Tyler Technology contract is going to save us an additional $10,000 to $15,000 a month. So
Tyler's who we use.
our processing now.
So the move we're making now, the average, or the yearly savings would be $400,000.
Correct.
And then here in a month or two, we're gonna switch to another company.
About 4 months.
It'll
Yes.
cost us $2,000, whatever it is, and then you say that'll be an additional $15,000 a month?
15 a month, yes.
I think we approved this thing.
I thought this might be an easy one, but you never know.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. Go ahead, Mark. To approve.
Okay, Mark's made the motion to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, David, and you're up for the HVAC upgrade.
Yes. Now, on the one hand, I'm saving the city of quite a bit of money. On this hand, I would like to spend a little bit of that money. For the almost 11 years that I've been here with the city, I have fought with the HVAC system that we have. We upgraded units about 4, 5. How long have you been manager, Richie?
4.5.
So about 6 years ago, we upgraded a lot of our units, and then this past year, we upgraded more units. The problem that we have now is we have today's technology trying to communicate with 2005 technology as far as the controllers that are on the wall. We have 29 VAV, variable something, whatever it is, it's damper controllers in the ceilings for each offices and so forth. We don't have a balanced system in the building just because the way the building was, for lack of a better term, cut up and designed.
Yeah.
For instance, the unit that controls the HVAC system for finance and mine, Chris, and Beth's office also controls the HVAC for the break room downstairs, which makes totally sense. So then you've got a unit that controls the lobby out here, goes down the hall to customer service. So anyway, it's an unbalanced system. Pam's office stays freezing. Whether we put it on 75 or we put it on 68, she's cold in her office. She runs a heater. The way our systems work now, these variable control boxes on the wall read a temperature, and they communicate that to the HVAC unit. Well, the HVAC unit takes the average of these units that are saying, hey, I need heat, I need air conditioning, and tries to get a mix. Well, it doesn't work. If you'll go downstairs to the lower level where Tanya's offices are, it stays extremely humid. down there. We've installed dehumidifiers. 2 weeks ago, the controller in Richie's office and Scott's office said it was 98 degrees in both their offices. There's only 5 or 6 controllers on that unit, so it was calling for air conditioning. When in reality, it was 62 degrees in Richie's office. Daphne had her parka on, her toboggan, her gloves. She's freezing. So anyway, out of the 29 controllers on all the walls, about 6 of them don't work at all. So daily, I have to come in and look at all the different floors, different areas, and do the average math to see who's getting what to come up with a comfortable temperature, or try to at least, to make everybody happy. Well, I know you can't make everyone happy with an HVAC system. I get that. But it shouldn't be 67 degrees in Pam's office and 75 in mine.
Maybe if we enrolled with Home Serve. Just throwing it out there for a suggestion.
I think we're on to something there.
Maximum, I'm afraid.
So anyway,
Yeah.
over the years, we've done business with Train, and I've asked and asked and asked about getting this presentation in front of you guys. This brings our controllers up to today's standards. It also provides heat boxes in the ceilings for each individual, where there's one of those VAV controllers. What this is going to do is going to save the wear and tear on the $180,000 to $225,000 worth of units that we've replaced, because now the units don't know exactly what to do. And I'm quite frankly tired of telling them what to do.
Do we have any in-duct heaters, or is it all damper control now?
Damper control, that's all we have. We also have, with humidity problem, the only way to get rid of humidity is raising the temperature, lowering the temperature. Well, downstairs where there's not a lot of airflow, that creates a lot of mold. They've had some mold issues down there, and it's directly related to the HVAC systems in this building.
I don't think the system's ever worked properly since it was put in.
It hasn't.
Like Davis, I don't complain about cold air. Yeah, I spend a lot of my time in ice cream trucks, but 62 degrees constantly blowing on top of you, kind of got old there for a while.
Which really
it took me
surprised
5 days to say something, but I said, yeah.
That's a lot of electricity. I mean,
The units are
that efficient.
You're wearing the
you're
units
spending-
out too. You can imagine trying
Right.
to keep 62 when it's 95 outside.
Right. So we're spending a lot of money on
We
electricity
are. It's going to be more
we'd
efficient.
realize-
And I told David, we're going to meet with them to make sure that we're getting everything that we're supposed to. And if we can save some money, we will. But I really don't know until we talk to them. Is this what we need or what we don't need? But I will say this: we've got to do something, or we're going to be replacing units, and that's going to be a lot more than this.
Is it centrally controlled, one place, one controller for the whole building now? Is that kind of what this is gonna
For
do?
the most part, yes. That controller back there that's on the wall underneath the plaque, that's a dummy controller. We had a thermostat there. And when they replaced the unit for council chambers, and council chambers has its own separate unit, that's the only thing that's on that unit. We took that controller out, or took that thermostat out and put a dummy controller, because the wires were already there and there was a hole in the wall, and we didn't want to leave the thermostat there. So that's a dummy controller. But to answer your question, yes, I can control all the HVAC stuff from my office. The other part of this will upgrade our software, our Train software, from just 6 years ago, to these new units, so that Richie could change the temperature in his office or on his unit with his phone. I would be able to do it if I was on vacation and nobody else knew how to get into it. They could call and say, hey, the heat's gone crazy in Richie's office, I would be able to do it on my phone. So this upgrades the software as well, which they've shown me some of it, and you can go in and put schedules in. The schedules I have now that I've been able to do are very, very basic. But we've been trying to control the humidity in the whole entire building for years. And the scheduling software that we have now is just not as complex. And it's a trained software. This is just a tremendous upgrade from what we have.
Will this cure the humidity, the mold, humidity issues in the basin? Is this gonna fix it? I mean,
It'll help, without a doubt. I don't know if it'll fix it, but this building's had issues since they built it in 70 whatever. I mean, it's, I just know that they have, and I wasn't in this building. I think they opened it in 2005, 2006.
2005.
But they have had issues from day one.
It will help with humidity issues because the schedule that I've currently got in place for the lower level, I can't leave the unit off long enough for the temperature to come up, because by the time it gets to where it needs to come up to in order to come back on to cool down to, it conflicts with the times we have people here. But with having 3 or 4 of those controllers downstairs, Tanya's office currently stays pretty cold. The training room behind it stays pretty cold. You'll be able to adjust those controllers in those rooms with different schedules. Like instead of having 65 degrees in there, it can go up to 68 with the heat box, or 70. But the biggest thing is we'll be able to leave the units on a temperature of 71 degrees. So the units are doing what they're supposed to do, instead of getting conflicting requests from all the different broken controllers. My office currently reads 0 degrees in my office, but it's because the controller doesn't work. I've had to pull it off the wall because if I leave it on, it says it's 110 in my office. And then I can't do enough of the average to get it comfortable for everybody else.
so the $140,000 is, we're replacing controllers?
Controllers.
And what other physical equipment are we getting for that price? I mean, what-
Boxes in all the 29 different spaces. There'll be a heat box in that space. That also does, what else does it do?
The only thing I would caution about is the heat boxes, that strip heat, and you were talking about electricity. It really is expensive. And I know whenever we did the same thing at the county office with the schools, we had trouble, trying to control the heat boxes. But it's just a warning.
Well, and that's why we mentioned this is a top-end number. Once we get to sit down and go over everything with it, it may very well be we take those out. The main thing is we've got to be able to control.
Yeah.
At least the city manager's office needs to be at 70 or 71 compared to, 62.
Well, the other side of that too is it may be that there may be only a degree or two difference of what you can change it to. I mean, if I've got the building set on 70, Richie's not going to be able to turn his office down to 65, or turn his office up to 75. He might be able to go up a degree or two.
So it's going to be
difference.
somewhat controlled from a central location.
Very, very much so.
I don't know whether y'all remember or not, but I think it was in the 70s. This building got bombed.
Yeah.
Tore the whole back side out. And they had problems from then. I mean, I can remember them having heating and air problems back then. It was because they had to move things around inside to keep the structure strong. But it might be a problem you gotta go with. Fix.
Yeah, and go back to your question. There's a lot of other sensors they're going to put in the building, DAT sensors and zone sensors, and that we don't know what it is because we don't have that, and I don't have access to that new software now to see it. Currently, it's what the county is doing in all of their new buildings.
So what you're asking for is approval to spend up to this amount of money, but it might be less than that.
Yes, sir.
And we had 200,000 in capital for this building that we've not spent. So there is money there, but we'll probably have to roll it over to the next
Who
year.
was you planning on, who was you looking at doing it?
Train out of Charlotte does it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's,
They will know.
It's they're the commercial company that's allowed to do this.
that money you had allocated for capital for this building, was there anything else that we were looking at using that for?
Use it just, I mean, we had talked about, paving the parking lot, wallpaper, carpet. I mean, it's, it was there just for general purposes. It was not earmarked for a specific project. We'd also looked at the wall, but had an engineer go back and look at it, and feels like that we're okay with it. Doesn't need to be addressed, so that was part of that too.
This out here?
Now the railing's gonna be insurance, so
But the wall.
the wall itself, yeah.
Wall's intact.
All right.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve, the HVAC upgrades.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Roby, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And David?
When this is done, I promise I will come shake your hands, and I'll thank you now, but
Oh, sure. Okay.
I wanted to tell you something that is hilarious. So this back conference room is controlled by the fire department's bedrooms over there or something.
Yeah,
Well, at least won't sweat back there anymore, so.
that's been that way since that
It's
happened,
crazy.
yeah.
I've had the fire department's 2 bedrooms taken off of the control, so that's something completely
It's
different that they've got to deal with.
Weird situation.
Yeah.
Hey, David, while you're up there, talk to us about auto pay.
Well, as we dug into the credit card transactions and trying to figure out how we could save additional monies, a member of my staff went through the auto pay declinations, customers that we have. What that is, you sign up to pay your utility bill each month by auto pay on your credit card. Well, we found out that there are, and that's about half an inch thick, there are that many people that it declines each month. Well, whether it goes through or declines, we still have to pay the fee. So we have a button in the system that we can push to take them off of auto pay. But we don't have a policy basically giving us that permission. So this is a policy that I came up with to give us that permission. I mean, one of these customers in here has failed their auto pay 57 times, 40 times. I mean, so I told Richie, if it's like the auto insurance business, when I had my agency, had the employees call to remind people, hey Jill, your auto insurance bill is due the 29th or it's going to cancel. Well, people got used to us making that phone call. That was their reminder to come pay, so I stopped doing that. I think this is what people are doing with their auto pay. It's their reminder that it's time to go pay their city utility bill.
How much is the charge per?
$5. Depending on the dollar amount of the bill, but it can be anywhere from $2 to on up.
That it costs the city.
That it costs
Every
us
time one's declined.
every
Right.
time that card is
Do
declined.
we pass that along to the ratepayers, to the customers?
No, but what we're also adding in this policy is a $5 declination fee. So if you're
So
set up
they'll
on auto
have to pay that cost
Correct.
that we're paying now.
Correct.
Is that enough, or does it need to be higher than that?
We were gonna, Pam made sure she put in the fee schedule that it's subject to change. We want to start monitoring this to see how, once we go through initially and get all these people that have been auto declining forever, get all them off the books. And then move forward with what we have and see how that goes. We might come back to you and say it may need to be $10. You know, a return check charge is $35. So,
That's what I'm thinking, just make it sting a little bit to where folks pay attention to what they're doing, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the auto pay decline policy.
Yeah, we'll make that motion to approve. Yeah.
Okay, motion by Kevin, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, David.
appreciate it.
Okay, Chris, you're up. First one, contract for SAS protection.
Thank you, council, for having me. Anybody want a definition for SaaS?
Yes.
Software as a service. That's what SaaS is. So the first thing I bring to you is, and you have the papers in front of you. I believe that Daphne handed those out. Software as a service protection. This is the cart before the horse, as you say. This is protection on Google and our Microsoft 365 environments. They live in the cloud. So this is an extra protection on top of it. If we get hit with ransomware or an internal threat actor, we could recover our infrastructure. Not necessarily infrastructure, but data from that. If an employee decides they want to nuke their entire Google Drive, we could pull it back in an instant if we wanted to. If ransomware hits and takes down everybody, it affects those PCs, but it doesn't affect the data that's in the cloud because this is where the backup lives. So I bring before you the 1-year renewal and the 3-year renewal. Of course, the 3 years cheaper. The total package of that's $14,400, which cuts out to, let me find my paper, $4,800 a year, which is on pace with what we spend now. It's already currently in the budget. It's just I bring it before you because it is a multi-year contract, looking for your blessing.
So this is going to prevent something that, you're familiar with the Erie Insurance and what's gone on with them, with some type of ransomware?
So let's play that out a little bit. Right? Erie Insurance, somebody clicks the phishing link, it locks down their Google or Microsoft or whatever they're using. This is a different avenue of where all those files live that we could totally pop it up and it'd be free of ransomware. So we could take a previous backup. We take multiple days up to about a month or so of a current person or a shared drive, and we could pop those files out.
And we're not allowed to pay ransomware in North Carolina as a municipality.
Per statute.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, this is just in the budget. We're just
Yes.
saying go for it,
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Do we need to choose between the 1 year or the 3 year, or is that?
My
already-
recommendation is a 3 year, so I guess if you go ahead and approve with a 3 year.
That'd be our recommendation as well.
It's a cost break.
Yeah.
Yeah, cost break.
We're gonna
We'll need
go
it,
buy it
yeah.
anyway, right? So,
Yeah, we're gonna have it in 3 years, so yeah, my recommendation is to lock that price in for 3 years.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve
motion,
SAS protection.
make a motion to approve.
Motion by
Protection.
Mark. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Chris?
Thank you. And like I said, it was the cart before the horse. Here's the horse. Google Workspace, our 3 year renewal is up. We locked in for a 3 year renewal previously when I first came with the city. We saved money with that. As you can see, the prices went up because they've added some increases to their services. We now have, of course, AI available to us with Gemini. So that's one of the things they've actually added inside of Google Workspace. With the Microsoft instance, Copilot is offered, but you have to pay extra for it. With Google, it's automatically lumped in. So the price increase is going from about a $36,000 to $37,000 a year spend to let's say $50,000 spend. That is built into the budget. We have it to cover it. It's already there, ready to go. It's a hit that we knew that was coming, but this does lock us in for another 3 years, so it won't hurt for 3 years. It will reevaluate.
What did you say if we did the equivalent with Microsoft, it would be?
If we did the equivalent starting out with Microsoft, it's probably about $105,000 to $110,000 to start. And then when you start adding the features that we have onto it, we could hit anywhere from $130,000 to $140,000 a year. So that is one reason why in 2019 we decided to go Google at the time. It was cheaper for us to do that and bring Microsoft Office apps on. We could do both of those for cheaper what we can for just Microsoft. So,
Does the same thing.
ish.
And you pay per user, like how many folks work for the city, you multiply that by or is that?
We pay per full-time employee. So we give a full-time employee or when the
They
supervisor.
have a computer or a phone, whatever, they're in the system.
Yep, roughly now it is 220 users that we pay for. We have a little bit of overage to be able to cycle people on and off. So,
It took a while to get used to Google, but now that I'm used to it, I'm fine with it.
I'm doing the same thing. It's, you know,
But it really gives you a lot more options, I think.
as a city, we love our storage. We love putting a lot of stuff into storage. If we move to the Microsoft world, we have to start paying for storage, whereas Google, this is built in. So,
right now they do.
right now, for the most part, that's their selling point, and that's one reason why they increased too.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny the 3-year renewal.
I make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
Well, we can get through some money quick here.
Pam's fixing to give you
Pam's
back
coming.
some, so there you
Yeah.
go.
They just found
Yeah,
it.
that's
$500,000.
Okay, Pam, for the annual budget ordinance. And,
Good news, Pam.
And budget amendment.
Good evening. I am here to ask if I can add $1,694,576 to our budget. Yes, our budget ends on Monday, but I like to get this in to make us look good. Of that, in general fund, I'm requesting to add is $1,272,127, and of those, again, last month, or actually the beginning of this month, I told you we had our lease program. We received 3 additional vehicles for capital. 1 went to the PD, 1 to street, 1 to equipment services, which is approximately $143,757. Our sales tax increase, I'm looking at about almost $167,000 more to add to that line. Investment interest, approximately an additional $42,000. The ad valorem levy in the amount of over about $54,000. Our final franchise tax payment in the amount of $202,453. That was actually due to an increase in sales tax on electricity that we get from the state. And I am going to be a little cautious here, and this is why this is a little high, but I'm going to add a fund balance appropriation. And this is for capital projects that was approved in prior years. That consists of the City Park project in 2023, the PSC Center in 2024, and the Rail Trail Plaza in 2024 that we paid out this year, which is approximately $650,000. I don't anticipate needing that, but I want to be cautious because I'm just covering our bases to make sure we don't get in trouble when we do the audit. In water and sewer, I'm requesting to add about $387,369. Investment interest is about $22,000 of that. We had some gov deals in the amount of over $10,000 that we received in June. And again, fund balance appropriation for prior year capital projects, which included the Riverview Lift Station in 2024, the PSC Center 2024, and the wastewater treatment plant had a flow meters, their DAF, the clarifier, and a main influent pump from 2021 to 2024 projects that we paid out this year, which was approximately $350,000. Again, I don't anticipate needing that, but I want to cover our bases. And finally, electric fund, I'm requesting to add approximately $33,813 with investment interest of $22,000 and default fees in the amount of a little over $7,200. If you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
Good.
I can't imagine anybody being opposed to adding 1.6, but I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny the budget amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve.
Approve.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam. Okay, next up, we've got Nathan coming up. This is about letter of intent for the new truck.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So before you have in your packet there a letter of intent. And we've done this before for our new garbage truck. As you know, money's been set aside in this budget, this upcoming budget year, to purchase a new automated trash truck. In talking with the Vanguard Truck Group, they have a chassis on the ground, ready to go, and it would just be a matter of taking that chassis to Amic Equipment Company to have them install the body system, which is a new way sidewinder, side loading arm. And that would take about 8 months. So we're anticipating getting the truck in the first quarter of 2026. But the intent of the letter of intent is to show Vanguard and Amic that we are in the market to purchase this truck in our new budget year. Now, and that amount, I'll go ahead and say that amount is $404,500.
It's less than what we budgeted.
Correct. But let me caution, I just learned from Chris on Tuesday, I've got to check to see if it's been spec'd out for router wiring harness.
Yeah, router wiring harness for the new camera system.
For the camera system on the truck, which may affect the price, but
Not what I budgeted.
no, it would be a slight increase.
I was looking at some of the prices of these, same name, and it was $200,000 to $400,000. What are we getting extra? I mean, we getting anything rather than something regular?
This is like a state contract price.
Right.
It's through the Sheriff's Association.
It's more?
No. This is the standard price through the Sheriff's Association. So they give all the cities, it's like getting, like on a state contract, because they know all the cities, counties, and the state are gonna buy off of it, they give you a better deal. If you went to purchase this on the lot, you're gonna pay probably $20,000 to $30,000 more than what we're gonna pay.
Well, this wouldn't actually be a better deal, Rich. I read where it said the average price was $200,000 to $400,000.
That's probably for the chassis.
One's a truck, one's a chassis.
Right.
Yeah. So the truck is one price and the chassis is another, but together they're $400. And I mentioned this, in budget retreat. I mean, that price, it wasn't that long ago that the new one was $350. I think three and a half years ago. Yeah. But gotta realize everything's gone up in the last few years. But this is the Sheriff's Association's just like the state contract with the state. It is the best price you're gonna get.
That's ready to go.
Well, yeah.
Nancy, how many trucks do we have in service that does the city use like routinely now?
So we have 4 automated trucks, 2 are Mack trucks, and the 2 newest trucks are auto cart trucks, and that's what this would be as well. And those auto carts have the new way system. The Macks were purchased back in 2016.
Purchased in 16, put in service in 17.
Yeah.
10 years old, and how old are the auto cars? The 2 auto
But
cars?
the newest auto cart was purchased in 2022.
Yeah.
And then I think the one before that was 2019, because we do about a 3-year.
We need 4. 4 is our normal. We use 3, so we have one in back when spare now.
Actually, we'll have 3 of the auto carts, which are superior. The Mack GSPs we have are not. They were low bid, but they're not the same quality.
So the 2 Max
We're going to use those as backups.
backups to
Correct.
this one when we get it.
Yeah.
So on any given day, we need 3 to service the
We run
city.
3 every day.
And keep in mind, with the build out of Clark's Creek and Huntington Hills and Carpenter Farms, we may have to push
Another one in
out
service.
a 4th truck.
Yeah, on Wednesday, we probably will.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the letter of intent for the new garbage truck.
Make a motion to approve the letter of intent.
Motion by Mark, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next up, Gene.
No, I'm still last.
It's gonna take that long.
That's water. And I'm gonna try and make it quick. I know y'all have listened to a lot of words tonight, and I'll try and make it as quick as possible. I have to find my stuff real quick first. Okay. So, I don't wanna confuse you. I feel like we might need a little bit of education on this. I'm not sure if everybody knows how this works. We're gonna talk about opposing a Senate bill, but we need a little bit of background before we do that. So when a bill is introduced, it has to be read in the House 3 times and passed 3 times, and then it moves on to the Senate. And then the Senate has to read it 3 times for it to be approved. So what we're looking at is this year, there were over 100 bills introduced that had to do with land use. And none of them are going to be things that I think y'all are very happy with. And so the House introduced House Bill 765. And this bill takes away so many rights of a local government to make decisions for their community when it comes to land use. Right now, the way it works is we have to follow state statute, but we can make rules that are more strenuous in our zoning ordinance than what state statute requires. And that's just the way it's been for a very long time. And so this bill, 765, was taking away a lot of our rights, and it was going to make it so that we had to follow just state statute, and that as a local government, you could not make decisions for land use that were specific to your community, that you just had to follow state statute and you couldn't be stricter. This bill did not get very far. It fizzled out around May. I think May 6th was the last time it was looked at, and it fizzled out and didn't go anywhere. So in the meantime, the Senate has a bill, 205, and this is the swimming pool bill. It has to do with swimming pools. And what it says is that the health department can't regulate swimming pools in single-family homes. So I have a swimming pool, the health department can't regulate my pool. And that's how it started out. It passed the Senate as the swimming pool bill. It went to the House. It passed 2 readings in the House, and it went to committee, and it comes back revised, and it has language from House Bill 765 in it that takes away local zoning ordinance rights. Some examples just to share, just so you can understand. One of the things it does, it says that you can't have minimum parking requirements except what's required by ADA. When you look at the American Disabilities Act, it talks about the width of your spaces. It doesn't say if I open a shopping center how many spaces I have to have. It only says if this shopping center has 200 spaces, this is how many handicapped. So it doesn't give you, it says no minimum parking requirements, and that's on residential and commercial. It says that you can't put design standards on individual zoning districts. So like the townhomes, and some of you were here for this, but these townhomes, one of the things that council asked for was that they be all brick. The ones that are by Pleasant Retreat Academy, you would no longer be able to say we would like these to be all brick. You would not be able to have any design standards. There's more to it than that. I'm going to use my cheat sheet. It takes away, how when you have a conditional zoning, if you were to deny it, they have to wait a whole year to come back unless the plan is substantially different. It takes that year waiting period away. So you would
Come back the next month?
I don't know what the purpose of that is because I don't understand. Some of this I just don't understand why they're doing it. I'll be honest with you. It just doesn't make sense to me. They would put a 90-day time limit on plan review. So, and that includes like conditional zoning. So if we got a plan, we have to have it approved within 90 days or it gets approved automatically. So there's a lot to this bill that's very deceiving. It's the swimming pool bill. And so Ashley and I went to a stormwater, and this just stuck with me, and this is why I wanted to tell you about it, and this is why I wanted to propose that y'all oppose this, or do a resolution to oppose this bill. We went to a stormwater support group, and there was a lobbyist that just spoke, and he talked about how, bills worked and what he was doing, and he said the number one thing you can do that makes an impact on the state government is for your local government, your local governing boards, and your mayors to send resolutions opposing bills. If it's not something you want to see in your community, that's the very best thing that you can do. So that's why we've got this resolution in front of you. The county's already opposed it. The Board of Commissioners has already approved theirs. This is basically the same resolution that they did, and there are so many communities across North Carolina that have already opposed this as well. So the planning staff is asking that you approve this resolution to oppose this bill.
We'd have more of a voice if we do it as a city council.
The more communities that do it, the more municipalities and counties that do it.
What senator's doing it with?
His name is Jarvis. I think he's out of Salisbury.
David County?
Let's see. It's listed here. I've got my cheat sheet.
Yeah,
It just says Senator Jarvis. It doesn't show his county, but I think when Richie and I looked it up on a map, it was somewhere near Salisbury.
Salisbury, yeah.
And I've spent, I spent a little bit of time with this over the last couple of days, just looking at, and there are provisions in here that I actually like. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's some things in here I like as a builder developer. I would love to see a quicker turnaround. I'd love to see streamlining. I'd love those things.
It is developer friendly.
However, as a member of Lincolnton City Council, I have problems with this bill just from the standpoint of, I generally don't like government, believe it or not. I generally don't like government. I generally don't like centralizing power at any level, and this centralizes some of this authority with a higher level, which would be the state government. So I kind of am on board with opposing this legislation as it is written. And I also don't like the kind of backhanded way they're trying to sneak it through. I don't appreciate that either. So.
And that's what I didn't like, because it is, so what that means is Senate did not approve this. Senate approved this as the swimming pool bill without that language from that House Bill 765. And then when it moved to House amended the bill to include language from a bill that it went nowhere. And so that's not right.
Do not like when they do, and it happens all the time, I get that, but I do not like when they do.
With government coming on your property and telling you how to run, that's going too far.
Does the copy you have, does also list who in the House added the tax 765?
It doesn't. It says when it went to committee, it was amended and that these changes were added. But I can research that further if that's information you'd like to have.
I've struggled with this since we got this. I've struggled, I've read, I sort of have a problem with the city doing a resolution. Have we done that before?
Many times.
So we have done that.
This is new. This is the first time I've done it.
Yeah.
So, but it's been done many times
New to
before.
this too, but I have struggled
The
and
history of it,
struggled.
We've done it several times. Yes.
And sometimes we do resolutions that are fun and promoting, community, but this is a serious resolution. This is one.
We've done a resolution to the state, to the
Oh, yeah.
Senate and all
Yeah.
that, okay.
Well, like I said, the county passed basically the same resolution.
This is directed toward our legislators to let them know how we feel as a body. And
I
that
just feel
carries
like
it.
individuals do that, and I'm still struggling with
So
the city
I like-
council doing that.
I like the concept that we're gonna anything we can do to maintain as much control over our community as we can have, I'm in favor of. Even though, like I said, I think the provisions in this legislation professionally would help me, would make things easier for me. But I think keeping that authority here is important, is important for us.
I know.
Exactly, and by doing that resolution, you're telling the legislatures, we want to keep the deciding power local, not give it to the state. So, as city attorney, I'm certainly in favor of it. I think it's a positive, it is a way, and I think Gene's absolutely right, it's a way for us as a city to say, hey, we're not in favor of this, we want to keep it local. So, from a legal perspective, I certainly have no problem with sending a resolution up there.
Did you write that? Did you write?
I did not. I did not. No, but this one's been across my laptop screen prior to today, and there's certainly amongst city and county attorneys, it's been discussed, and it's not something that many people are in favor of, because it's like you said, it's taking the power away from us here locally and giving it to basically the state. To say, hey, here's what you're gonna do, and I hate to say it, but no offense to our developer on city council, but it's probably pushed by developers.
Oh, 100% it is. 100% it is.
Not to single anybody out,
and,
but
and I can see some good here, because I can see a city using their local ordinances and local rules, if you will, to reward somebody and turn somebody else down for similar projects. Now, I'm not saying we would do that, but I could see where some cities would do that, where that could happen in some cities, where individual A could be rewarded for whatever reason, whereas individual B could be turned down for whatever reason.
And there's 100 counties in the state. I mean, we're all different. So,
Yeah, I get that.
it makes sense to keep it local.
Can I add one more thing? So back in May, when the 765, the one that was pulled in, the North Carolina League of Municipalities actually sent out an email with a call to action asking local governments to oppose this housing bill. I mean, that's from the League of Municipalities.
What county was he
The
from?
league asking us to oppose it, but it died before it ever.
What was his last name again?
Jarvis?
Yeah, it's,
From Rowan County.
well, Salisbury, yes, it's Rowan.
Well, and that's why the trickery, and again, I really despise that, so that alone almost gives me a reason to say, yeah, let's oppose this, but,
Yeah.
whatever you guys wanna do. But,
I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion by Kevin, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, and I'll go on record as being opposed to it also.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay,
Will he be notified? I mean,
We'll send this
You'll
to
send- okay.
Senator Alexander and House Representative Ryan.
I've already got it worked out. I'll sign it tomorrow morning.
Actually put a signature, I don't know if I should have done that, but it actually has everybody's. Did we change it to just the
No,
mayor?
it has everyone's signature.
I can just change it to the mayor if we
And I have a copy of
need
it
to.
down here if they, if
good,
you all
good,
want to sign it before you leave.
will you send it to Jarvis or will you send it to the House?
It goes to our representatives, Ted Alexander and Senator Ryan.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the amendment for schedule of fees.
So y'all have already approved the schedule of fees. But Ashley and I met and we had a couple minor changes, and for us, it has to change like with the budget, like it needs to be done now. Because if not, then we have to know that it's a whole public hearing thing that we need to do. And these are very minor changes and it doesn't really even mean dollars. There was just, this is a minor one, it has nothing to do, it's just wording. So before up the top, it said alleyway closing and the bottom said street closing. We just wanted to change it. So anything in red is a change. So we made it match, alleyway, street closings, or alleyway and street closings at the bottom. It just matches now. We added, for the history of code enforcement, as long as I've seen a fee schedule, we have always referred back to the police department. We use the police department citation schedule, but it doesn't say it on our fee schedule under planning. So we just added a notation that the citation schedule is found under the police department. The next section, the wording was weird. This first site plan, we wanted it to say first in every, but somehow we ended up copying first in every submittal to these next three items. And we really just wanted it to say every submittal after the third. So still no dollars changing, just wording. Applications for relief, we missed this. We no longer do those. They quit doing those probably 15 years ago. We do variances instead. So we're just crossing that out. Exception plats, I would like to ask for one change for this. Technically, this can fall under minor subdivision, so we were just gonna cross it off. But instead of crossing it off completely, we would like to just put minor subdivision plat and then a slash exception plat. And the reason for that, those plats require the same amount of work from staff that a minor subdivision plat does, but for all these years, we've never charged for that review. It's been free. And so we want to make it the same. It's the same amount of work as a minor subdivision, so we want it to just be the same as the same fee. And that's all the changes. That's it.
Any questions? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve the changes or the amendment to our schedule of fees as
Make that
presented.
motion.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next up is Scott. About consideration of approval of a informal security agreement.
Excuse me, Mayor, the information security agreement. Information security agreement. Good evening, Mayor, Council. What you have before you this evening is an information security agreement. With the growth and development that our community has been experiencing, subdivisions, roadway improvement projects, community development projects, what have you, our staff continues to see an increase, approximately 5 to 10 per month, of records requests specifically related to our water and sewer map records or our electric map records. Those records, there are some protections provided by North Carolina statute chapter 132, and I'll defer to Mr. Frigoletti here shortly, our city attorney. The city of Lincolnton receives these requests. Typically, this data is used for design purposes, as I mentioned, for roadway projects, housing developments. A lot of times, design firms, engineering firms, architectural consultants may request those records to see what type of, what size utilities, what size water mains, what size sewer mains are out there nearest electrical hookups. And the information is sensitive in nature and critical to the services that we provide to our community. The information security agreement protects our sensitive data and assures accountability of those requesting these records. The agreement is utilized by other municipally owned utilities and is written in accordance with North Carolina Statute 132. You've seen a lot of these information security agreements, confidentiality agreements, as they're also known as. You've seen a lot of utilities pass these after September 11th incidences, the 9/11 tragic events that occurred. Then there must have been a lot of records requests at that time for water and sewer records and stuff. And so we need to be able to track who is requesting these records. And so what this allows us to do, this agreement allows us to know of the person or the company that is requesting this information. Furthermore, it protects us and it does not substitute or take away the person's responsibility for contacting North Carolina 811 when they need to locate utilities. So people request our records. A lot of times they'll design their infrastructure system, their fire suppression systems off of our records, and then sometimes they'll share those records with subconsultants or contractors, fiber contractors that may be coming in the area in the near future and installing underground fiber. They are routinely requesting these records in addition to just calling NC 811 for utility locates. So these requests that are forthcoming, they're coming in all the time, like I said, between 5 and 10 per month. We would request that those staff direct those requests to the city clerk, and then the people would be provided with this form and be required to sign this form to receive those records. It is just to protect our data and track who is requesting those sensitive records. A water line next to a hospital, I'm sorry, is not just routine public record. Water and sewer lines serving your community, serving police department, I still don't think that that's just a public record. And the statutes provide for some protection for us to be able to maintain who is requesting those records. And so I'll defer to our city attorney as well if he has any additional information.
Yeah, we Scott, myself, William, we spent a good bit of time on this because we did take it seriously, knowing that, most stuff's public. We're, public governmental entity, but there are some exceptions, and NCGS Chapter 132 allows us to protect what is relatively sensitive data here, and particularly, as Scott mentioned, after 9/11. So what we ended up doing, we went through this agreement paragraph by paragraph and tore apart, added to it, took away, modified, basically to come up with something that allows that information to be shared and used as required and as necessary. But this doesn't, but the idea was to keep ultimately somebody from just grabbing that data, posting it on the dark web or even the internet itself and saying, hey, here's City of Lincolnton's entire electrical grid, and water grid. So, is it perfect? No. We're not going to be able to do a perfect job of protecting that data, but we're at least making, the best effort we can given the situation. So, at the very least, and I've got, I don't know if you shared the notes with council or not, but I've got basically the notes that William and I put together on each of the paragraphs and why we thought they should be amended to include that stuff. So I think Scott's absolutely right. I think we need to protect it. This allows us a method to do so. And at the very least, whoever's asking for that data, we can at least do a little bit of a check on who it is, why they need it, and then if they go through the agreement and say, yep, I need it, I'm willing to sign that, then they're taking it as seriously as we are. So, and that's what, I'm assuming that's the exact same form as that you gave them, as the one I've got, it's our latest revision. So this is something that the three of us worked on quite a bit. So if you got any questions from legal nature, I'll try to field them if possible.
What's the remedy? So somebody gets the information and then they publish it, and we find out about it, then we sue them?
Yeah, pretty much. And what the actual remedies end up being, I don't know yet, because we haven't obviously sued anybody, and hopefully we're not going to need to do so. But if they did breach the agreement and they publish that data, do I think a Superior Court's going to hold their feet to the fire? Probably, because it's going to affect all of us.
Is that a civil matter, or would that be a criminal matter?
Civil, I don't think. William, have you run across any criminal statutes? I don't recall any.
No.
So, but it's all civil.
It may reach that level if you've got terrorists or whatever and use it, and that's covering air tracks to protect our citizens.
Keep in mind, this is all relatively new in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, 20 plus years ago, we weren't really worried about somebody attacking our infrastructure. Now we're worried about dirty bombs, stuff like that. So we're trying to kind of catch up with, one, the technology, and two, the folks getting creative on how they hurt us. Mm-hmm. So, and honestly, this is just kind of one of the first steps we're really working on. We've got several more that we're going to have to start dealing with. And after last week, we got more. So this is a good step in the right direction. I really appreciate Scott throwing this at us. Is it perfect? No. And is it something we may want to amend at some point? Yeah, certainly. But it's a darn good start.
It should be a fluid document because you never know what's.
That's correct.
Yeah, and
statutes change.
Yeah, and any time we're dealing with what would normally be public information, we're always going to be careful, because the whole idea is to keep stuff public. But this is one of those few exceptions, and we're only limiting it in the context of who needs it, why do they need it, and this is not something that is going to be withheld. But if somebody from New York calls and says, "Hey, I want a copy of all your electrical grid," and they're not with any company or any business that we know we're doing business with or should have that information, we're going to politely decline. And if they come back and they say, "Okay, here's some government entity from New York calls," we got a different story, and we can sit down and talk about it. But we're not just handing this stuff over willingly so folks can come out and hurt our citizens. Not going to happen. And that was the intent, and I think we covered that fairly well at this point. So
Furthermore, I know that obviously with all the cyber attacks, different things going on as well. Someone had asked a question about if this information's published, does it become criminal? Depends on was it published with malice? Was it, and that's just, yes, what's the intent? And that's the concern, because sometimes we don't know what those records might be for or who's requesting them and who they're sharing them with as well. So just adds us a little bit of additional protection.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the information security agreement as presented.
Make the motion to approve.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, next item is the master agreement between the city and county. Turn it over to Richie.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know this is the same information we went through at our workshop, but I would like to go through just to kind of review what the agreement has in it and what it means for the city of Lincolnton. This term agreement will end June 30th, 2030. There are 90 days written notice to terminate before the automatic annual renewal will kick in. So if for some reason we decide that we would no longer like to be in a contract in any of these services, we can have a written notice to the county and before that automatic renewal, and then those services would stop then. It revokes the outstanding agreements that are tied to now for our services. There's like 4 or 5 of them, so this takes the place of those. Going through them just individually, the planning and inspections, as y'all know, we contract with the county for our code enforcement. It would cap those hours at 1,040 hours of labor per year. We feel like that is going to be sufficient. And the city will pay 0.5 for salary and benefits of the employee. So we're going to be paying 50% of salary and benefits. Another part of the agreement is dealing with the billing for Lincoln County. At this time, the city charges 10% for all collections that we receive and send that to the county. Ironically, they don't charge us anything. But seeing that there is administrative costs there, we decided that it would be fair that each entity would charge the other 5% for collections, which I think is fair. The industrial park flow is reduced to 600,000 gallons per day. It is at 750,000. That gives us more capacity at our Clark Creek lift station. Presently, they're not really able to send us, I think it's less than 200,000. So they didn't have a problem reducing that. What that will do in the future is allow us to bring more into that lift station outside of the industrial park. So it helps us. It helps us with what we have to do as far as our reporting to the state. It gives us another 150,000 gallon per day cushion. So I just asked David to include that because really I felt like it was needed. The original agreement, I think, probably was done back when there was more water usage. We're just not seeing that in industrial park right now.
Gives us the flexibility to increase either commercial or residential development in that area.
Yeah, and it helps our number not only with Clark's Creek but also Betty Ross because it feeds to Betty Ross eventually. And a lot of times we could possibly get dinged by the state by going over those numbers. It helps us. It helps us in a lot of ways. The county is going to raise their minimum bulk water purchase, which will go from $111 million per year to $150 million per year, and that is just their growth as well. They'd like to lock in more water, and for us, it means we're selling more water. So it's a win for both sides. All county water customers on South Grove Extension will become city water customers at outside rate. That will begin July 1st. The airport lift station will be conveyed to the county July 1st, 2027, so in 2 years. We will reserve capacity for the lift station in the amount of 100,000 gallons. So as they grow that industrial park, that allows them the capacity they need, but it also takes away the day-to-day maintenance of the lift station that we've been doing. Without us being part of the airport, it just didn't make much sense for us to continue that maintenance. 911 services, same level of service. The city pays for one position. salary and benefits. As we mentioned before, if we had to operate our own 911 communication center, that cost would be tremendous, and the fact that we would be having dueling communication centers that probably would confuse everybody. So it only makes sense for us to contract with the county. Animal services, same level of service. City pays for 0.8 of a position, salary and benefits. The SRO contract stays the same, and then the county will continue to collect city taxes for 3%. So that stays the same as well. But I feel this was something that probably should have been done in years past. We had several of those contracts that don't really make a lot of sense now, the economics for both sides. So I feel good about it, and I want to thank Megan Gilbert for putting this together, and John and Scott for reviewing it as well. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Like I said, it's the same information we went over in the workshop. There are some things there that we know are going to be very beneficial in the city moving forward. Number one is the water sales, but also additional capacity in our lift stations.
That tank over there on the bypass, is that tank?
Ours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that feeding into church?
That is where it would, yeah.
That's what it's set up for?
Correct. The tank was set up really, I would assume years ago, more for the Indian Creek and that side of town. But yeah, it's where it would come out of.
Now I'm gonna ask you stupid. I can't. Where's the car? Clark's Creek.
Clark's Creek.
Pump station.
Yeah.
Get it in my mind.
You know, that was the old Slaughter Pen Road years ago.
Yeah.
It's actually, if you go down behind the Industrial Park Road that goes by the Cochran Building, if you keep on going, that's where the lift station's at.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've always called it Clark's Creek Lift Station. And we're in the process of looking at adding capacity to that lift station. So as we grow as a community, we can, our infrastructure will grow with it.
Okay, any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the master agreement between the city and county.
Oh, Mayor, before we do that, I want to make one note, and I've already talked to the county about this. On the code enforcement side, the agreement said that we would add their employee to our workers' comp. We can't do that, but we can add like a rider that would cover them, and I don't think that's an issue. David and Megan both said they were fine with that. They would change that on their contract as well, but I would like to approve this with that change.
I entertain a motion.
Somebody else make that motion, please.
What are they doing?
I have issues
Make
with
that
it, and my issues are what do we pay county taxes for too then? I mean, we get these services from the county, we get but we're also paying a county tax.
Yep.
They do code enforcement. Are we not county citizens as well? And I know the answer. I get it. I'm frustrated with that. So.
And what else is the county doing except cutting grass? I mean, what else is involved there?
Well, the main thing is with this contract is your 9/11 services and animal services. The code enforcement is something that we started a few years back, but if we did not contract through them, we would have to do it ourselves. So,
I bet I've had
yes,
You know where I'm coming
yes,
from.
I do.
I'll let
yeah,
it go.
yeah. And I think if you look at it that way, as far as 911, we are the second density wise, the second most populated area in Lincoln County, besides Denver. So we probably do account for more calls. And I know with animal services, they had mentioned the fact that we have a leash law. So naturally, there's probably more calls with that as well. But the mayor and I sat through this, and I think at the end of the day that after a long meeting, I don't know that we were both, as far as the city and county, both happy, but we were satisfied that each one got something out of it.
Give
So,
and take.
yeah.
And this is really a lot better than what it started off being.
It's fine. It just kind of grates me a little bit, but it's fine. I'll make a motion. We approve. We approve.
Okay, motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next up, Richie, you got the Rotary Club Peace Pole project.
Cliff Rumfield, this was a project he brought to us. He's out of town, but I told him I would handle it for him. As you know, with our arts ordinance, anything in the central business district that is art related, whether it's signage, murals, banners, in this case, the pole, if it's in the central business district, it has to go to the steering committee to get approved, and then it comes to city council. Well, we took it to the steering committee. It was unanimously approved, and just bringing it to council now. It will be somewhere in First Federal Park. We do know that. It's, as you can see, it says "May peace prevail on earth," and then it's got it in so many different languages. It's a project that I think that Rotary's doing throughout the country. But we will have it, or they will have it professionally installed. We're just gonna have to find a place that we feel like it's, not gonna be in the way, but at the same time, gets enough traffic by that people can see it.
There'll be a ribbon cutting. I talked to Cliff today. There'll be a ribbon cutting whenever all this is completed.
Got a whole lot of choice over there.
Yeah, I think that we've probably identified a few spots that it would, like I say, you want it somewhere that's visible, but you don't want it somewhere that's in the way as far as maintenance. So we have a couple spots I think we can
You don't
choose.
think we could wait till we get to the other part developed?
No, we'll put it somewhere that it won't matter. Yeah, naturally, on the trail side probably is the better place.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Rotary Club request for a peace pole project.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, it's time for the city manager's
Yes.
update.
And Mayor, I'm going to yield my time initially to Megan Carroll, our summer intern. I had asked Megan when she had come on board this summer to look into our strategic plan. As y'all know, we're 10 years into it. We've had a lot of new people come to the community. We've had a ton of things that have been done based off our strategic plan, projects that have been completed, projects that are ongoing. And so I've asked her to come in, evaluate the program, and then work on a survey that we can send out to the community to get their feedback so we know where we need to be headed in the next 10 years. As y'all know, we have concentrated on the downtown, parks and recreation, infrastructure, and HR. Maybe there's something else out there we don't know, and we will only know if we ask. So Megan's got a presentation to kind of show you where we're at right now and to talk about where we're going to be going with this. Megan?
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. I will make this as quick as possible. So thank you all for having me, and tonight I'm just going to walk you guys through the key insights from our ongoing work on the city's strategic plan. As you guys know, this plan focuses on infrastructure, employee benefits, downtown development, and recreation. So the strategic plan aims to help the city proactively manage growth and infrastructure. Some of our key steps include identifying infrastructure needs and funding options, conducting employee benefit surveys and a full pay and classification study, evaluating development opportunities and potential partnerships, gathering community input through focus groups and surveys. The plan is holistic. It balances the technical needs of the city with the experiences and priorities of our residents. So starting off with infrastructure, all of the departments, of course, are involved with all four of these, but I just tried to highlight a few with each one. So with distribution and collection, the city's infrastructure is aging, and we need to plan for upgrades, especially downtown, Court Square, Main Street. Coordination with the DOT and engineers is critical. Public education like water bill mailings will help residents stay informed. With zoning, zoning is an important tool to balance growth with the character of our community. Planned residential developments are increasing connectivity with sidewalks and trails, but our limited staff means we need more support. So with our fire department, new development, especially loft living, brings stricter safety codes and more inspections. The department is looking ahead to future technologies, but these come with cost. You will see funding as a theme here. The downtown area remains safe with the police department. There's no major concerns right now, but long-term AI and code enforcement will bring new responsibilities and cost. So with employee benefits, the city's pay study has helped make wages more competitive, but employee recruitment and retention remain a challenge, especially with nearby cities like Charlotte, which offers higher salaries. Career ladders and flexible benefits are key for employee satisfaction, and HR is continuously gathering feedback. Financial planning ensures we can support sustainable staffing, but we're watching wage cost and turnover closely. For police and fire, long-term benefits and manageable call volumes are crucial for keeping quality staff. Keep going. So downtown development. The city's downtown is transforming with zoning changes, social district support, and grant programs to encourage businesses to expand to their second-story use. We're also working on redeveloping the old police department site into some new townhomes. Fire and police remain engaged downtown to keep the area safe, especially as new uses, again, the loft living with safety code challenges. So finally, with recreation, the Parks and Rec Department is focused on rail trail expansion, green space growth, and city park revitalization. Funding is our biggest obstacle, but we're actively collaborating with state agencies and railroads. Community feedback continues to guide park improvements, and recent events such as the Movie in the Parks and the 4th of July Parade strengthen community ties. Zoning and infrastructure updates will improve trail connectivity and support access to recreational spaces across the city. So, finally, for our key takeaways, across all the departments, growth is driving the need for upgrades in infrastructure, staffing, and long-term financial planning. The collaboration between departments is already super strong, and we need to continue working together to address these challenges. Moving forward, we use these insights to fine-tune the strategic plan, align staffing and budgets with projected growth, and look into diverse funding options, including grants and partnerships. Thank you for your time.
Good job.
Now, Megan, are you not going to take some questions from council?
She disappeared.
She's wise beyond her age, I can tell you that.
And this is the first step with the strategic plan.
Correct.
Because we will have to have community hearings and
Meetings
everything
and like
else.
we did before, but,
Yeah.
and what we're gonna do is, Meg and I and Chris are gonna sit down and plan out the survey and how to get it out to the people, make sure they're going to the website, you know, and filling it out. And because like I mentioned before, we have so many new people in our community, and if you look at what was suggested the last go around, we've completed a good bit of it. So, you know, we've focused on our parks, we've focused on our downtown, we've done our pay studies to make sure we're competitive in recruiting and retention, and you know, in our infrastructure, that is a big key that we're finally getting to the point financially that we can do. So, you know, we need to find out, is there something else out there? But I tell you, Megan, I just gave her a few instructions and she hit the road. So, been a joy to work with, looking forward to finishing out the summer. And I don't know what she's going to do when it's all said and done as a career, but I promise you she's going to be successful. We have been very fortunate over the years with our Student Advisory Council to have kids come through, and they're visionary, they're motivated, and their skill set, especially when it comes to technology, is, you know, off the charts. So, like I say, looking forward to going through this process and finding out what our community wants for the future of Lincolnton.
Great information to have.
Yeah.
You've got, and Ruby and I got on board right after the last strategic plan, and it's goals that we need to focus on for the future. And without a plan, there's no real organized way to progress. And Ruby and I have been arguing, fussing the thing about infrastructure ever since we both got elected, and it's starting now. And that's
well, we finally got to the point where we've got funding for it. for a lot of years, you know, we were putting Band-Aids on all our projects. And, you know, now we've kicked we kicked the can down the road long enough, now it's time to pick it up. And I think that's why putting together the CIP and doing the rate studies and making sure that we've got the funding to finish these projects. But yeah, I definitely think the strategic plan was worthwhile because I've seen the projects, you know, go from beginning to finish. And we weren't seeing that before. So I just want to put a few dates out there and also mention a few promotions and certifications. Remember that our recycling will be July the 11th. Next Friday is July 4th, so our city offices will not be open. We will be celebrating the 4th. So if you're going to be in the parade, let me know. I'll make sure to reserve you a parking spot at First Federal. And the lineup starts at 7. The parade's at 8:30. Fireworks are dark. I don't ever give a time for fireworks because we don't know whether it's going to be cloudy or not. But I would like to mention just some promotions and certifications. Also want to welcome Brandon Granger, a new firefighter 1, Tanner Warlick, meter specialist, and then Fred Kemp, property maintenance tech. Promotions, Lane Hunsucker promoted to firefighter 2, Isaiah Matthews promoted to police captain, Tyler Biles promoted to master police officer, Mamadou Diallo promoted to police sergeant, and Daniel Lafone promoted to police sergeant. And then special accomplishments, Carson Williams attained his immediate certification for the police. Noah Watson was our officer of the quarter. And then I guess good and bad, it's always bittersweet as the mayor says, but Major Dwayne McAllister retired after 25 years of service, and we wish him well and enjoy the retirement. And we also had Billy Siebenheier promoted to captain as well, and then swearing in for a new officer, David Millerstrom. We had certifications in our water resources department. Christopher Collins got his grade 1 for pre-treatment. We also had Terry Connor that received his land application and residuals. And then Renee Hill, who received their seed for surface at the water treatment plant. I may have missed some because we had so many this year, but I always like to put those in there because, you know, we encourage our employees to further their education and get as many certifications as possible. We've built career ladders that help them and help the city. So anytime that we have those individuals go up those ladders, we'll make sure we recognize them. Mayor, I'll keep it short since we're running late. Everything's in your packet. If you have any questions of information in your packet, let me know. None.
And almost all the promotions, I think all the promotions were from within.
Oh, yeah.
That
They
says
were.
something to the hiring practices and the leadership.
The Alive After 5 tonight was canceled because of weather.
What's our machine called? You go out, you get a break in the line somewhere, and it picks it up. What's the name of it?
An electric line, a thumper,
Yeah.
and an underground thumper.
Thumper.
Yeah.
I just like when we bought that thing, I didn't think too much of it.
You can't
But
find
I'm telling you
an
the truth.
underground. Yeah.
My TV, I had a break, and the TV, I was the only one in the whole block. Couldn't figure it out. But I called Mr. Turner, and he brought that thing over. They had that thing fixed in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, they went straight to the light, to where the break was in the ground in my backyard, and found the break and dug a hole and fixed it.
Yep. That's
It's amazing.
it's worth every penny when you got underground.
Okay. Before we go into closed session, I'll ask the media if you have any questions.
Yes, sir. I just have a question for Mr. Haynes.
Yes.
And the strategic plan, you had mentioned about surveys. How are you distributing that out to the community?
Well, I mean, naturally, we'll probably do a bill stuffer, because we have, I mean, for pennies, we can do that. But also it'd be on the website, and then using our allied agencies, like I'll give an example of the chamber, DDA. You know, we give them information, they'll send it out to all their, members, and try to direct them back to the website to make sure that they fill the survey out. But, before, we did a community involvement, and I think the mayor's right, to do some type of workshop where we can actually educate the public on what we do, but also find out what's their vision on how Lincoln grows in the next 10 years. Because a lot of our citizens are new and they don't quite understand how we do our bulk or our limbs or our trash pickup, or even, things that the fire department offers, like the car seat program. So I think it's good for us every once in a while just to reach out to the community and say, this is the city of Lincoln, and this is why we do it and how we do it. So I think that would be something that we try to set up maybe in 2026 to where we can have that community meeting. And we've grown, so it's, like I say, we've got a lot of new people in the community.
Richie.
Yes.
I was just gonna say I could piggyback off that, but you answered it. You're good.
Well, you trained me well in your presentation, Megan. That's the key. So.
I like to tell you, my daughter was in this student government thing when I think she was the vice president or something. And that is very worthwhile. That's a great organization. I mean, it really is. And she accepted about 8 months ago a job. She's the CEO of the Make-A-Wish Foundation in North Carolina. So it'll take you a long way if you stick with it. I mean, you're going to learn a lot from this. And it's well worth it. Proud of you.
Next item on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for a short meeting about property. Anything else, John?
No, just pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11, or .11, I think what are we doing, A7 on this one? No, I'm sorry.
5.
A5. Yeah, actually, and I do have something real quick under A7. So.
Motion?
Thank you, Chris.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are in closed